Okay, so let's talk about Flexbox. I watched an entire course on lynda.com about Flexbox. It was long. And Lynda Flexbox. So this course, it's 2 hours and 3 minutes. And I made a bunch of notes. So those are under, I think, programming and web programming. And actually I have a link right here. Web, useful links, that's what I want. Command F, flex. Todd's notes on Flexbox, a bit too detailed. Display flex, flex direction row, column, flex wrap, flex flow, row wrap, flex grow, flex shrink, flex basis, display ratios, justify content, line content, complete guide resource. So I just would type up these notes as I was watching the videos. I'd take screenshots and drop them in. This is 126 pages long. I really wanted to understand Flexbox. I share that with you just to establish a little credential that I've done my due diligence. I've tried to understand Flexbox. You have access to this document. You could read through it. But Flexbox gets a little nutty. It is. It's just like it's not the engineering precision. It's flexible. It's not precision. It's flexible. But flexible is sometimes the best engineering, right? When they make wings for airplanes, do they make them rigid or flexible? What's stronger? What's stronger for an airplane, a rigid wing or a flexible wing? Flexible. What's safer in an earthquake for a high rise? A rigid building or a building which can rock and roll? Dude, they build buildings on wheels now so that when there's an earthquake, the entire thing can just kind of like, the earth can move and the building stays in place. The earth is moving. They build buildings on wheels now. Isn't that crazy? Can you imagine an entire building is on these big wheels? Drive that down the street. Put a little bass in it. People will take notice. Then they'll notice you driving an 80-story skyscraper down Manhattan Boulevard, a little bass pumping. People will notice you. They'll be like, whoa, check out his ride. That's an 80-story building. So Flexbox, I'll just start here. This is built with Flexbox. Okay? That's cool. A little bit of a media query there. Right, you can see layout changing. Navigation disappears when I hit a certain breakpoint. Radon. If you smoke and you got 10 picoliters per picocuries per liter, 150 people will get lung cancer out of 1,000. If you don't smoke and you got 10 picocuries per liter, 18 people get lung cancer out of 1,000. Second leading cause of lung cancer in America, 2000 to...
My aunt, she got lung cancer and she didn't smoke either.
Probably radon.
Yeah.
Radon and cancer, national cancer. 22,000 lung cancer deaths a year. 15 to 22,000 lung cancer deaths a year in the United States because of radon. Where'd she live?
Madera was in Walmart, she believed. Because in the back, I guess they left it really dirty.
Oh yeah, she thinks she got it from Walmart. Is she dead?
No, she's still
She should test her house.
I'll tell her to test
You
her
test her house.
She
You can
does
buy it on
have lung
Amazon.
disease
You could buy it on Amazon, or better yet, you could go to Fresno Radon. I could probably, and this is the actual live website. And test your home today, and then you could just buy it right here. But this is the testing. You want one of these, and the same price as Amazon. So just get it on Amazon.
The one I saw on Amazon when we first were talking about this, they're kind of expensive, like
$129, yeah.
What's that other one? It just looks like this.
$250.
It's not electric. It's a. I have one.
Oh, you get the $15 one to canister, and you mail it in. It costs you like $50, yeah. And then they just test it at the lab. All right, so that's built with Flexbox, and that code's all there. Maybe we'll dig into it a little bit. This is built with Flexbox. You know, no media queries there. Oh yeah, a little media query. You can see I dropped the sign in button. You can no longer sign in on mobile. I built that to bid on a job, which I did not get because I came in twice as expensive as the competitor. I'd like to see how the competitor finished up the project. I'd like to see the finished project. He is working in piled high poop, PHP. Piled high poop. All right, so here's Flexbox. You ready? Watch stuff flex. This building's on wheels now. Flexbox means fill up all the space. Oh. Flex item, last item, pop down. And their stuff shifted. That's not a media query, that's Flexbox. Like, let me just fill up the space. My whole layout's changing depending upon the size of the screen, which is approach my website. But if I could make things fit, centered, look good, that's intriguing.
Does that mean that if you go on a website on your cell phone, it will?
It'll look like this on a cell phone.
Okay.
It'll look like this, maybe, on an iPad. It'll look like this on an old computer. It'll look like this, maybe, on a newer computer. Huh? So what are the settings on that? All we have is a div class container, and then we have a bunch of items. First item, last item, right? But they're all class item. So here we have a container. And I said display flex. And I said flex flow row wrap. And justify content space between. That's my container. So I say with this container, everything inside becomes a flex item. And the container is, going to have flex applied to it. And flex flow row wrap, justify content space between. And then for each item, I have a width, a height, a margin, a border, a background, text align, and flex grow. Flex grow is 1. That's it. So flex grow is something that works in proportion. So if I had flex grow 1 on some of these and then 2 on others, well, the ones with 2 are going to grow twice as fast as the ones with 1. Kind of interesting when it comes to taking up space. Display inline flex, flex direction row, flex wrap, wrap. So flex flow is a shorthand property where you can set both flex direction and flex wrap all at once. So you can see flex direction is row, flex wrap is wrap. Those are individual properties for Flexbox. Or I could use flex flow row wrap, and that's exactly the same as saying flex direction row, flex wrap wrap. Okay? It's just a shorthand property. We'll see more of that in a second. We're just getting a little exposure, introducing your minds to it. display inline flex. I don't know what the hell that does. I haven't looked at this in a year. Pretty dang similar. We'll have to look it up and see what inline flex does. So you could do things like this menu. Where we have body, UL, and class navigation, and then a bunch of LIs, home, about, products. And then I have class hold list, which doesn't do anything there. Get rid of that. And navigation, list style none. So list style none, I guess, gets rid of the bullets. It doesn't have to be list style type. I thought type. There's 2 ways to do it. List style none works too. Margin 0 all around. I'm not sure I need that. We'll take it off here in a second. Background, deep sky blue. And then we go flex, display flex, justify content, flex end. These aren't needed as they're the defaults. Flex direction, flex wrap, flex flow is the same as setting flex direction and flex wrap. So that's just FYI. This is row, no wrap. Navigation, text decoration, none. Meaning no underline, because they're anchors. Display block, padding 1em, so content, padding, border, margin. Color white. Navigation hover, give me a different background color. And then we have media queries, which we haven't talked about yet. But the media query says, hey, for anything up to a max width of 600 pixels, we're going to have navigation, flex direction, column, padding 0. So we went from flex direction row to flex direction column. And navigation, anything inside class navigation, which is an anchor. Is that how we did it up above? Yep, that's how we did it up above. Text align center, padding 10 pixels, border top, border bottom, and border bottom none on the last one. And we get rid of that. So let's watch this in action. I really like it. And nice. It's a really nice menu. So just getting a tour. Here's another example of layout. Mobile, tablet, computer. I think media queries might be next. So there we have media queries.
So that's flex and
Huh?
media queries and flex on that one?
Yeah. So wrapper, class wrapper has flex. Wrapper wraps around the header, the article, the side, and the footer. And then all of those items which are children of wrapper, descendants of wrapper. Is that what this means? Pretty sure that's what that means. I didn't write this code. You're asking me, man? I'm just a student here. Selectors. Any E element that is a child, direct descendant of an A element. That's what I said. That's kind of cool. And the interesting thing here with Flexbox is order. He's changed the order of stuff. So you can reorder elements on the page based upon what the layout is. For everything between 600 and 800.
So within the document,
Greater than 800, min is 800. Media queries always throw me off. What's that?
quick question. So within the document flow, they may not be in that exact order that you have them, that they're normally in. But
On the page, they would be in totally different order because of Flexbox reorders them. And then we have this one. It's cool. So the thing that you want to know about Flexbox above all else is to just go to CSS Tricks, Flexbox. A complete guide to Flexbox. And then when you get here, the first thing you want to realize where's my highlighting? There we go. The first thing you want to realize when you get here is here are the properties for the parent. Here are the properties for the children. So you're going to create a container. And you'll say you display flex, and everything inside that container will now be display flex. And there'll be children in there which are being displayed in the Flexbox way. So when you create your container, you have this stuff on the left to work with. See how there's two columns? The column on the left is for the container. Okay? The column on the right is for the flex items, the children. So for your container, you say, hey, this container, display flex. And then for the children in there, on the container, you could say, what's the flex direction? How's it going to arrange the things how the children in this container? Do I want it to be a row or a column? Do I want it to be row reverse or column reverse? So you could choose row reverse. You could choose column. You could choose column reverse. Or you could choose row. For your flex direction. So you can choose what direction do I want things to go for your flex container. You could also say, do I want things to wrap? So for things that are in my flex container, do I want them to wrap to the next line? And so the default is no wrap. No wrap, default. Okay, so you might say, okay, I want it to be flex direction row, flex wrap, wrap. I want it to wrap to the next line if we go to the next line. And if we look at this one example I had, this first one of mini divs, display flex for the container, and row and wrap. Okay, because flex flow is a shorthand of flex direction and flex wrap. So I could just say flex flow and give it the flex direction and or flex wrap. Right? So I said flex direction row wrap. Flex flow, row wrap. So this setting here Exact same thing as these two settings combined. Flex direction row, flex wrap. And then flex direction row, flex wrap. What would have happened if I'd said column? And you know what? I'm gonna do these guys here and select them all, delete them. I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Guess what's next? Column. I went from row to column. How about column reverse? Last item's on top. How about row reverse? Well, that's more than I wanted. Interesting. First item's in the top right. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's row reverse. So instead of starting on the left, it started on the right. Instead of starting on the bottom, top, it started at the bottom. What about row? There's row wrap. Okay. What about row no wrap?
Is this what you use when you do it in a different language?
This is CSS. There's no different language. It's just another layout property that we could work with. So we've looked at different properties we could use in CSS to do layout. We saw display and really kind of saw display inline blocks. Pretty cool. We saw position, fixed, relative, absolute. We saw float. So we've got those three tools. Properties with values which we could set. That property is equal to this value. In our rule sets, our declaration blocks, they would be declarations. So we have display, we have position, we have float, and now we have flex. Display flex. So Flexbox is actually another display, right? It's display flex. But I'm just calling it Flexbox. It's actually display. It's another setting for display.
Yeah, so I said that one day when you were asking the four of them. I said flex, but I didn't know what it was. I just didn't know.
Yeah. So that's interesting what happens when I go, check this out. I go from wrap, it's wrapping, and they're all maintaining their width, to no wrap. Well, we're not wrapping, everybody's squished together. They all shrunk, right? Well, here are all my items, class item. But what if one of these had an ID of 1, another horrible ID, and flex, shrink, I don't know, flex shrink 1, and all these guys had flex shrink 2. They're going to shrink twice as much as that first one. Everything's shrinking now because it's all no wrap. That one shrunk less. How much less? Half as much as everything which was 2. What about if we make these 4? A fourth as much as all those others. Whoa. This is going to take a little time, a little playing around with. But you can kind of see here, right? We're just doing the flex wrap. We also tried, I'll put this in the comments, no wrap. That all on the same line there. So we were looking at this thing which tells us how does Flexbox work. And we saw that we have to have a container. All right, cool. We had a container, and we said display flex. And we need a flex direction, and we also need flex wrap, or we could just say flex flow, flex direction, and flex wrap, shorthand. And then there's justify content. Justify content, you can kind of see what that does. Put everything on the left. Left justification. Put everything on the right. Right justification. Flex start. Flex end. Put everything in the center. Or space between. Just take the space between and even it out. Or space around. Right? Space between keeps your edges. Content to the edges. Space around. No. So justify content works along the main axes. If I say row, like here, row, what's my main axes? Is this my main axes for a row? No, that'd be my main axes for a column, right? My main axes for a row is left to right. That's my main axes. What's the cross axes for a row? Up and down. If I change this from row to column, what's my main axes for a column? Up and down. What's my cross axes? Left, right. You got to think about your main axes, because when I'm a row, my main axis is left to right. So when I look at this, and it says, justify content defines alignment along the main axes. Well, this is giving me an image of my main axis being a row. What if my main axis is a column? If I'd said flex direction column. If my main axis is a column, flex start's going to start it all up the roof. Flex end's going to start it all at the floor. Flex center will center it, right? So we have, let's make this column, and justify content space between right now. Let's try flex end. Probably not going to see any difference because end is the end. But what if I'd made my body let's do the container 9,000 pixels. There it is finally. Right? Because we did justify content flex end. What if instead of flex end, we do flex start? It's up at the top. What about if we do center? Somewhere in the middle. What about if we do space around or between? Space between. What's that going to do? Let's look at space between. Space between does this. So vertically, we're going to get that. Whoa. So I really encourage you to just work with this div file, this first file right here, mini divs, and just work with the container. Row, column, wrap, no wrap, justify content, space around, space between, flex start, flex end. You saw how I did that with the container, made it really big so I could play with it, right? And put this back to row, wrap. And you can see the dramatic effect. Whoa, it's like totally wacky now, row, wrap. Took up all the space. And I could fix that because there's one more setting here. There's justify content, align items, and then when I have many lines, flex containers lines, how do I want all of my lines treated if they're wrapping across many rows? I could do space around, space between all the lines. I'm going to do flex start. So line content, flex start. Ah, nice. How many people are like, wow, that's cool? And then you saw how the flex shrink was working. When, oh, everything's being shrunk, some stuff got shrunk less. You're starting to see how you could even start to apply flex properties to one item. A flex property which is, and you've got all those flex properties over here on the right for items. Flex grow, flex shrink. The order one is fun to play with. Just reorder everything. And so by default, flex items are laid out in the source order. However, the order property controls the order in which they appear in the flex container. The source order is the order in the HTML. Order property controls the order in which they appear in the flex container. Right? So if I wanted to, I could reorder these guys. All right, so you got a lot to play with Flexbox. I think I'll give you an assignment, which is something like take this page of divs and play around with the container settings to create like 4 unique layouts, and then take screenshots of those unique layouts and also submit the link to GitHub code. So you take this code here. You take this entire folder right there, Flexbox with many divs, and you just copy that and you put it into, like, for this assignment, you'd say, hey, Flexbox assignment, and then folder 01, folder 02, folder 03, folder 04, and you change each of those 4 folders so you get a different layout, and then just submit the URL to GitHub. I think that's what the assignment will be. And that way you're going in and playing with container settings. Hey, I'm going to make it a row. I'm going to make it a column. I'm going to make it a row reverse. Justify content. Justify content space between. Or line content flex start. So you could start to play with those. The place to go, CSS Tricks Complete Guide to Flexbox. This is the best place to learn Flexbox. Right? It's pretty consumable. Okay, I got container, and then I got the elements in the container. And right now we're just learning to play with the container settings. And we got to justify content, and we saw align content, which is all the lines. There's also align items. So that kind of is like justify content did left, right, center. Align items does top, bottom, middle, right? So it does it along the cross axes. Yeah, how flex items are laid out along the cross axes. So for a row, the cross axis is the vertical, which these are images of top, bottom, center. All right, that's it. How many people got your money's worth? Cool. How many people want their money back? That was too hard. I want my money back.